Welcome to the show, guys. Happy Monday. Got an exciting one here for you. We are continuing with the bringing on of the NFL players on the show today. We got Rashid Shaeed, and we're talking 3 wide receiver must-have sleepers that you absolutely must target, okay? And Rashid Shaeed is on the show. I talked to him. Super nice guy. So exciting episode here for you on your commute here on Monday morning, August 5th. And I'm telling you, man, fantasy football is back. I'm feeling the energy, guys. Now, you don't want to skip announcements because announcements are very, very important. Some people say, well, oh, you talk for 2 minutes. Guys, they're actually things that bring you value, including the news. Some people skip the news. You don't want to miss out on news because there's little nuggets in there, golden nuggets that, hey, man, that's a good piece of information that I may use for my draft. And it is draft season, guys. It is full force. So we're going to talk about the news, got some announcements here, and Rashid Shaeed is on the show. And I've got 3 must-have sleepers. I might give a bonus one here as well here for you. Super excited to get into the show. Before we do, guys, make sure you guys do smash it, tap it, slap it, hit that thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. Lion mentality here. We go hard on the #1 fantasy football podcast and the only channel, guys, telling you the truth, okay? And if you've not gotten the 16-round draft solution, secure the solution, secure the championship, grab it right now, okay? What happens is when you get 60 rounds, you're going to get an email. That email is going to let you log in and have access to full mock drafts, guys. I walk through full mock drafts telling you all the optimal players to draft and who to omit. Last year, I told you to avoid Austin Eckler round 1, Tony Powell round 1, Mike Williams round 5, T. Higgins round 2. Who else was there? J.K. Dobbins round 4, and on and on and on. That's what you get in 16 rounds. You get a printable cheat sheet, you get everything all in one spot. Secure the solution, secure the championship, guys. Get it right now. It's full force draft season. Okay, guys, do that. Hit the thumbs up and drop a comment below. And again, we got Rashid Shaeed on the show, guys, and I'm really looking forward to this, okay? I'm here. I'm having a little bit of a pre-workout as we're doing the show here. I got workout after this, and, you know, I'm keeping busy. I gotta keep working out because if I don't work out, I can't keep saying because I got so much energy here. There's so many things going on, okay? So anyway, we know how we start the shows. Happy Monday, everybody. We started it with Breaking Brad.
We now have breaking news.
There we have it. Now, this is some news that was over the weekend here. A couple of things I want to highlight. Jonathan Brooks. This has turned me off him. He's still in 16 rounds, but I'm thinking of taking him out because I still think he can be a league winner. Jonathan Brooks, knee issues, will not play during the preseason because, again, he had that knee surgery, will not play during preseason and could start the 2024 season on IR. So what I'm hearing, though, is that he may miss the first 3 to 4 weeks. That's not good. This is not good for a lot of people who drafted him, who did drafts early, who were expecting this guy to start out of the gate. And that's what we were supposed to believe. It doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. So Jonathan Brooks going to be out probably 3 to 4 weeks of the season to start, okay? Tyrone Tracy appears to have the upper hand in the battle as a primary backup to Devin Singletary. And hey, man, I wouldn't be surprised if he took that starting job from Devin Singletary. Again, Devin Singletary has no business being a starter anywhere. I just don't understand this hype with Devin Singletary. He was a product of the offense last year. Not sold on him, okay? I just read a note as well. I put it in my story, but I'm going to pull it up on my story because what I do is I'm tapped into some beat writers, so I've got my feet on the street in regards to like kind of what's going on. And I was reading that Marshawn Lloyd ran for a great run. Let me just read the exact quote here, and I want to get this straight for you here. So it says Marshawn Lloyd, this is the backup to Josh Jacob, has the ability to change direction, supremely impressive. There's one run in particular where there was nothing open up in the middle, and he jumped cut right to the right to get right outside in a flash. So I think this guy is better than Josh Jacobs. Call me crazy, but I think Marshawn Lloyd could take that job. And I went to Marshawn Lloyd's Instagram page. I'm checking it out. I'm like, okay, like I want to learn more about this guy. And he has there's one post where he's talking about how his mother was there to support him. She was there for all the practices. She was there right there beside him. And that's what I like to see, an inspirational story where this guy grinded early mornings, family support, and now he's a Packer. So go read his story, guys. It's right on the website there. Sorry, right on his Instagram page. You guys got to go check that out, okay? So Marshawn Lloyd, amazing talent. I'm looking forward to see what he can do this year. Excited for the upside there. I think he's great talent, okay? Jaden Daniels will be receiving playing time in the first preseason game against the Jets on Saturday, August 10th, according to head coach Dan Quinn. We're going to see some Jaden Daniels. That's really exciting. I like to see some starters play. I'm excited for Jaden Daniels. I think he's a big-time sleeper this year, a little higher on the draft capital, a little more expensive for some uncertainty. We get that with guys like Jaden Daniels, Anthony Richardson, who are big-time question marks that have massive ceilings. I think Jaden Daniels could do really well. Bo Nix looking really good in camp as well. Moved ahead of Jarrett Stidham in the competition to be Leeds' #1 quarterback. This is interesting, okay? So again, Bo Nix, another sleeper going undrafted in 1 quarterback leagues. Ton of upside, ton of opportunity there for Bo Nix in Denver. And then Troy Franklin, who's completely being slept on this year, played with Nix in college as a sleeper. So there you go. There's a bonus sleeper at wide receiver that I've got on all my leagues, just stashed. Now, in my leagues, I have a ton of bench spots, so I'm able to stash these guys, but Troy Franklin literally going undrafted could be the one in Denver. Obviously, Sutton got repaid to stay on, is the one, but you really never know with a guy like Troy Franklin who has that rapport with Bo Nix, okay? So Jaden Daniels playing Jarrett Stidham, we talked about that. Tyrone Tracy. Geno Smith did not participate on Saturday, August 3rd, which was a few days ago, but is expected to return to practice this week, starting today, I guess. Interesting. Again, I don't have any faith in Geno Smith. I have no faith in drafting a guy like DK Metcalf as well. Zero interest in those guys, okay? Again, DK Metcalf, part of a 3-headed monster situation at wide receiver, coming off very, very early, okay? If there's anything else in the breaking news that happens in between now, because I record this on Sunday to Monday morning, which is now when you're receiving it, I'm sorry I missed it. I'll get it in tomorrow's news. But again, that's kind of like some highlights I wanted to go over here, okay? So again, if you haven't gotten the 16-round drafts, we should make sure you guys do secure the solution to secure the championship. And I want to talk about a couple sleepers here. Again, the first guy I mentioned was Troy Franklin. And I mentioned he's going undrafted. He was particularly in one of the leagues I just talked about here. But, you could say he's an average of round 14. When you kind of look at ADPs, you'd average him in round 14. But I do want to talk about him real quick. I love the fact that everybody's kind of sleeping on Franklin. I really do. And I think there is something there. I really believe there is some upside. And if nothing, you're paying nothing for him. You get him, as early as round 14 to pretty much undrafted. Again, I did a $350 buy-in league yesterday, and he went undrafted. Like, he was pretty much, I got him, I can't remember what round it was. It must have been around like 17 or something like that. Troy Franklin, big-time value, big-time sleeper. There's a bonus one here for you. Another guy I'm really targeting here, and what I ended up doing in that same league I drafted yesterday, the guy I'm talking about is Jalen Polk, round 14. Here's the thing, and I'm going to talk to you guys about wide receivers because I'm going to talk about it in all my episodes here. What people are doing in the early rounds is they're playing wide receiver roulette. You don't want to do that, okay? Let me explain. What I mean by that, okay? What's happening is Nico Collins, round 2. DJ Moore, round 3. Guys, these guys, we don't even know if they're going to be the one on their team. Nico Collins was the wide receiver one last year by default. You add Diggs, you add Dell, you add Mixon, you add Schultz, you had all these options. And you look at Nico's volume last year, it wasn't even that high. He had like 109 targets. Okay? That's not even high to begin with. Now it's going to be even more diluted. He's coming off round 2. There's a mess there. DK Metcalf, right? He's, JSN takes a step up this year. They re-signed Lockett. You look at the Bears situation with Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, Roma Tuesday. It's a disaster. Don't get involved with that. Now, for a guy like Jalen Polk, round 14, he's slated as the one potential. Now, Demario Douglas has been doing well at camp as well. So what I did, since I have 11 bench spots, I went heavy running back. I got 6 solid running back ones. Well, not pretty much running back one potential. And then I got Jalen Polk and Demario Douglas for literally free. Okay, like I got him around 14, 15. I'm like, sure, man. Now I'm really hedging my bet to get the one in New England. Now, do these guys have a lot of upside? Not necessarily, but you never know. You really never know. So Jalen Polk and Demario Douglas, people keep asking me which one. Just to let you know, Jalen Polk, great college season last year. And the thing about him, he was drafted in the second round. Demario, a year experience or so with the team, and he was a 6th round pick. So higher draft capital on Polk, a little more upside, and both of them doing well in camp. So nobody really knows. I think Demario could be maybe a better route runner, a little more, polished up, right? But Jalen Polk has a little bit more of a ceiling. But dude, we're talking sleepers here, and Jalen Polk and Demario Douglas could be amazing, amazing value, okay? I'll give you guys one more here, and I'm telling you, this guy I got him on all my teams, and I really don't care. I'm all in on him, okay? And the guy is Ladd McConkey. Okay, we talked about Troy Franklin. We got Rashid Shaeed on the show coming on. I think he's in a great situation. And the last one here is Ladd McConkey, okay? Troy Franklin, Ladd McConkey, Jalen Paul. Yeah, Ladd McConkey, I got him in the 6th round in that league yesterday because you got Justin Herbert's number 1. Now, funny thing is, one little injury to Herbert, which is the plantar fasciitis or whatever it's called. It's that little muscle under your foot, acts as a shock absorber that connects your heel bone to your toe. That injury pushed Justin Herbert to the 14th round in a league yesterday, $350 buying league. Ladd McConkey is going to be his 1. He's already, the word out of camp is he's the 1. So again, what I'm telling you is that instead of playing that wide receiver guessing game early with like the Nikos and the DJ Moores and all these guys, why not get the true 1, potentially true 1, and you're getting him at like a major discount. I got him early, round 6. He could fall to as late as round 8. Most people are going to be sleeping on him, especially with this Herbert injury. Big time turnoff. A lot of people are thinking Palmer's the guy. Palmer was never the 1. I'm not sold on Palmer being the 1 at all. So Ladd McConkey's on all my leagues. He's a major sleeper. He's a must-have player. He's going to be a PPR monster. When I say monster, I mean like there's a ton of volume. There's no checkdowns with Eckler there. You've got no Keenan Allen there. This guy is absolutely primed to crush it. Ladd McConkey, all my rosters with confidence. And the crazy thing is, because you're drafting him later at ADP and you look at your rosters like, oh man, McConkey's my wide receiver 1. Again, if you do this, you got to make sure your first 4 or 5 picks are solid. You got ace quarterback, you got workhorse running backs. I just did a video yesterday on fantasy football draft strategy on balancing your roster. Your roster is going to be balanced because there's some risk here. But this is no more riskier grabbing McConkey round 6, 7, 8. It's not as risky as going Nico Collins round 2. I think that's riskier because you know that Diggs is going to eat. You know that Dell's going to eat. For all we know, Dell could be the 1, okay? So Ladd McConkey, a must-have guy. And similar situation, guys, when you're talking Romeo Doubs, I want to talk a little bit about Romeo Doubs here. I believe he's the 1. He's tearing it up in camp. He's a sleeper. He's coming off after Jane Reed and Watson. But you're playing that roulette. You're playing the wide receiver games later. You're playing it later, right? You're not going Nico Collins round 2. You're going, Romeo Doubs round 8, 9, 10, and he could be the 1. Does that make sense? So I like my wide receivers later instead of going earlier. Now, again, some people say, well, Romeo's the 3. That's the same debate with Nico. Nico could be a 3, but why is Nico coming off round 2? And Jordan Love, if you look statistically, had a better year than CJ Stroud last year. He threw more touchdowns, more yards, everything. So, again, I'm just doing some math in my head here. Why not go Romeo Doubs later, load up on those guaranteed positions earlier? You're guaranteed workhorse guys. Even a Drake London, guaranteed to get volume, right? Derrick Henry, round 2. Sam Laporta, round 2. You're almost more guaranteed the volume there, right? Josh Allen, round 3. You're getting that guaranteed guys while other people are playing the wide receiver, guessing game in the early rounds, okay? So I can get Doubs later and potentially get the 1 instead of going Nico Collins round 2 and potentially getting the 1. Does that make sense? So you're playing the same game, but you're playing it later with wide receivers. Nobody's talking about this. This is practical mathematics. I suck at math, but I even know this stuff, okay? I'm not a math guy, but I'm using logic and common sense that nobody else is doing. So just to recap, before we get to the Rashid Shaeed interview, we got Ladd McConkey, we got Troy Franklin, we got Jalen Polk, or Damari Douglas, Romeo Doubs. I gave you a bunch of, I said 3 here, but we're giving you a ton of bonuses here. If you want all of them, grab the 16-round draft solution, guys. Secure the solution, secure the championship, and grab a ticket to the Fantasy Sports Summit. Rashid Shaeed will actually be there. Guys, it's going to be super exciting. Rashid Shaeed at the Fantasy Sports Summit. Get a chance to ask him questions. But let's roll to that interview. Great chat with Rashid Shaeed. Let's roll. The next sleeper must-have player, Rashid Shaeed. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. It's great having him on. Super nice, super humble guy. Let's roll it. All right, since we're talking sleepers, I've got one of my favorite sleepers on the show. Rashid Shaeed, welcome to the show, man. Excited to talk fantasy football sleepers, and you're on the show. I'm excited to learn about you.
Yeah, so excited. I appreciate you for having me.
Man, I appreciate you coming on. I want to hear a little bit about you, because again, we just see you as a speedster. People that haven't listened to your interviews, and similarly, we had Kyron Williams, Trey Benson. They just see the person on the field running or catching balls or throwing balls if you're a quarterback. We don't get to actually see the personality. So I've been very blessed to, again, have the opportunity to have a platform and then build this to have you guys on. So I want to learn a little bit about you. I saw, if you guys don't know, he was an undrafted free agent a couple years ago, and his stats went up. Your stats went up significantly from 2022 to 2023. I want to talk a little bit about that. But again, you know more about you than me, so I'll shut up and I'll let you talk, man. A little bit about yourself, kind of on your journey to the NFL briefly, and kind of what your motivation is. Really, we want to learn about you, really.
Yeah, kind of like you started off with, I'm an undrafted free agent out of Weber State. I ended up at Weber right out of high school. I didn't have a ton of looks out of high school. I was kind of a smaller guy, kind of played mostly running back. I kind of grew into learning receiver probably like my sophomore, junior year of college at Weber State. I had a wonderful coach in Jared Ursua, who I give a lot of credit to in showing me how to, grow as a receiver. But yeah, my time at Weber State, man, I was mostly a return man. The Saints brought me in to, kind of fulfill that role. Thankfully, I was able to show that I could also play receiver, and that's how I was able to get the opportunity that I did early on in my career. I had faced some adversity coming out of college. I had tore my ACL my very last game at Weber State, so that probably played a big role in why I was undrafted. Coming out of college, I was kind of already on the borderline. Coming out of a small FCS school. Teams how it goes. They don't know if you could play at the high level. You never really play against a big competition. So, they kind of don't give you the full credit that you might want. But everything happens for a reason, and I've really enjoyed my time with the Saints, and I continue to, I'm excited for the expansion in my role.
Yeah. Do you know what your current ranking is for fantasy football right now? I'm just curious if you kind of know where your ranking is right now.
I couldn't tell you. It's probably not the highest.
Okay, because I told Trey Benson that he was RB42, and he was kind of shocked. He's like, "What RB4?" Like again, he wasn't
Yeah.
aware. So you're currently sitting. They have these consensus rankings that I think are total BS. They come out every year. They're just like consensus rankings. I'll give you context here. Like Sam Laporta was ranked 21st last year amongst tight ends. He finished as like a top tight end. I was telling people, don't always trust the rankings. I never do, because it's not right. So you're currently sitting as wide receiver 56, and you're coming off typically in round 12s in a 12-person league. I mean, that's a little insulting. That's why, like from a fantasy perspective, I would think.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that on paper, depth chart wise, I believe you're the wide receiver 2 to Olave. If you look at the depth chart, and we're looking at you like that. And we got wide receiver 2s coming off early. Like, we don't know if Nico's the one, or Tank Dell, or, Diggs in that offense. And like, we don't know who the wide receiver 2s are these days, like Jaden Reed and like, is like Romeo Dobbs in Green Bay. So a lot of these guys are coming off very early, whereas I think you're primed for quite a bit of volume. Am I correct? I think, like, again, you went from 34 targets to 74 last year. I know you don't probably know this exactly, but do you think you're going to get more targets and receptions this year? Do you feel that's something, in the future, like more volume for you in general?
Yes, absolutely, definitely more volume. My role is just going to continue to expand. And last year we had Olave, Michael Thomas, and me, of course. So now that Michael's gone and he's kind of set the standard for how me and Chris know how to go about business, I feel like I have a good insight on how to approach the game, and with our new offensive coordinator in Kubiak, super excited about him. I feel like he is going to really give me and Olave and all of our receivers more chances to get yards after catch, and just the ball in our hands and to be able to make plays. So I'm super excited about that. My role is going to continue to grow. Still going to be returning and all that fun stuff. So I'm excited. Yeah, more targets coming, and more yards and everything. So
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about you because, again, you kind of came out of this draft untouched in regards to they didn't draft a top prospect out of college. Like they didn't bring in Roma Duze, they didn't bring in Malik Neighbors or someone like that. Like it shows me that they believe in you. So when I look at the depth chart, I see you definitely like it's by default, you should get a lot more volume. Now, again, us fantasy football guys, we're pretty shallow. There's always like this guy's this and this guy's that. It's just we kind of put you guys in a little bit of a bubble. Now I don't. I'm more open-minded. You're kind of known as a speedster. So like, oh, he's just good for best ball. Best ball leagues are like when you just draft a player and he has big weeks and he has small weeks and you lack consistency in regards to production. I don't see that. I see you getting a lot more volume, but have you ever heard the term you're just a speedster? Is that kind of something that you've been hearing on Twitter or anything like that? Has that ever come across your table? Have you heard that term? Yeah. You're just he's just a speedy guy. He's going to be like a one trick pony guy. Do you ever get that kind of negative, hater talk?
Yeah, I don't really look at it as negative. It is true. I am a speedster, so I can't deny
It's a
that.
good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing.
It's definitely a good thing. It's a big part of my game, which I take a lot of pride in. You can't really coach speed, but I know that I could do a lot more than that. I know that we just brought in a new wide receivers coach, Keith Williams, and he is already. You can see the difference just in our attention to detail within routes, and just feeling a lot more confident, and just feeling that this year will be the year that people could finally look at me and say, oh, he can run routes too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, we're just shallow. We just kind of put certain players in a bubble, and they're like, that guy does this, and that guy does that. But again, I love your situation, the way that's going. I'm curious, how fast are you? And like, I mean, what would your 40-yard dash time be right now? Like, how fast are you? And has your speed gotten better? It's a multi-part question here. So it's like, how fast are you? Have you gotten faster? And what do you do to maintain that speed? If I want to, I probably can't do nowhere near, but if I want to get faster, the listeners like, I want to get faster. Is there anything we could do? Should we do the ladder, speed drills? What should we do like to kind of get faster? And how fast are you really?
Right. So funny, I've actually never ran a 40-yard dash. I've never been in a time 40. If I were to do a 40-yard dash, I'd like to think I would be in the 4.2s, high 4.28, 4.29. I believe
Right.
I could do that, especially, with any type of training for the 40. I've come from a track background. My whole family, mom, dad, sisters, me, myself, grew up running track. So that's always been a big part of why I'm able to have success on the football field, is because I've taken, pride in the fact that track helps with football. And, that's something that I've learned and known for a long time. And, during the off season, I spend a lot of time on speed, knowing that is, a big part of my game. Yeah, just always sprinting. You got to get on a track. Track workouts are still very, very beneficial for me and any fast guys. Got to sprint. And yeah, I just feel like that is the key, to my success.
No, man, I'm excited to see you. You're going to be explosive. You're going to be fun to watch. I'm really, really excited. So for fantasy managers that are, again, I kind of asked this to Kyron Williams and some of the other guys. What would you say? Would you say draft you or like, how confident, what advice would you give fantasy managers who are on the fence? They're like, Rashid Shaeed, only 75 targets last year. He's just a speedster. I don't know what to expect out of him. What would you say to those fantasy managers?
Yeah, no, babe, pick me up, man. Pick me up. You'll be surprised. I feel like I'm bound for a big year. The whole offense, really. I'm very excited for the year that is to come. Super confident in that. For all the fantasy guys out there, I got you.
Again, your value is amazing. Round 12, you're getting a guy that's going to get a ton of volume, big time breakout as well. I also want to ask you again, you've leveled up, 34 targets to 75. It sounds like you get more targets, you can be better. Your route tree is going to get expanded in that. But what is kind of like your future? You've kind of hit a pinnacle. Like it's such a good thing to make the NFL as an accomplishment on its own. What other big goals are you striving for? Maybe, are you thinking greatest of all time, fastest of all time? What are some thoughts that go through somebody who's already hit such a peak, right? You're up here, right? And you're like, yes. What is the next mountain for you at this point? Obviously, I'm just curious kind of your thought process. What's the next big goal and future goals in general?
Yeah, no, I mean, for myself, as far as from a receiver standpoint, I feel like I can, be one of the top guys in the league. I want to be able to have my name in the conversations of those Pro Bowlers. all pros. I feel like that I have that potential. Obviously, I got to continue to work and put in the work to be able to be in that category. Um, but yeah, I feel like I'm gonna be put in the right position to be able to be able to be spoken in those big names like Devontae Adams, Puka Nakua, Cooper
Yeah.
Cup, Debo Samuel, all those guys that fit those roles. But yeah, so what was the next part of the question?
No, just like future goals. So receiving,
Yeah,
I know we're thinking way far ahead here, but like be the
mm,
best you could be at the position.
yeah,
Big name Pro Bowl. Any other things that you work on? Like, what do you do on the side? Is there any like side? I mean, it's full time football, right? It's kind of a
yeah.
crazy question. Is there any other side passion you do? Like, even as something as silly as video games? Because I watch tennis, right? And
Mm,
one of the players, he's like a top Rainbow Six guy,
yeah,
as
yeah,
well. I think it's Medvedev. I think he's a top tennis player, top 5 in the world, and he plays Rainbow Six, and he's like ranked really high in a video game. Is there anything that you do? Any other goals that you're kind of working simultaneously, or down the road, I want to be a coach or something like that? Just future goals.
yeah. I guess for now, I'm kind of focused on just the present, and just kind of being the best teammate and player that I can be for my team. Down the road, there's definitely a lot of things that I would like to get into. I do game a little bit. I don't know if I would be in a Champions League like
Yeah.
anything like that in any games, but on my downtime, I do like to game a little bit. I'll be getting into different things for sure down the line that
Maybe
I'm
maybe
interested.
a, maybe a fellow fantasy football analyst. You come in as I'm the counselor, and maybe you're the doctor, the fantasy
Yeah.
football doctor, or something like that down the
Mhm.
road. I'm just kidding. But yeah, man, I'm really excited for you this year, man. I appreciate you coming on, and you'll be at the Fantasy Sports Summit. Looking forward to that. So some people filter some of the questions, but hopefully some people can ask some questions and specific questions for you, and hopefully you can answer them. I mean, they're just gonna be fantasy questions, like what can you do for
Yeah.
me now, or something like that,
Right.
right? So. Yeah, I'm excited for you. And last thing, really, like, how is that connection now with Derek Carr? Has that built up team dynamics? Do you feel like you're gelling better? Do you think everything in general just feels better for this year? Kind of overall overview of your offense this year.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like our offense is going into this season way more confident. We feel like that we were not last year. We weren't at all what we expected to be. We feel like Derek is a lot more comfortable within his role. Getting a chance to spend time with him and get to know him a little bit more. He came in last season and uh, maybe he didn't feel like he had all the time to get to really know all of us and build the connection that we really wanted to. But this offseason is completely different. I feel like we finally spent the time to be able to, go out on the field and have success, spend time before, after practice, getting extra time in and spending those extra hours that we know that it's going to take to have a successful year. And I'm super excited, man. The whole offense is excited.
Yeah.
We're excited to have a bunch of new coaches, new faces in the building, and to set the highest standard possible. And that's exactly what we're looking forward to.
And finally, I just forgot to ask this as well. Do you play with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder being an undrafted free agent? I was talking to Kyron. It felt like he had a bit of a chip. He was a 5th round pick. Antonio Brown years ago, I don't think he was drafted in the early rounds as well. Do you find that you play with a little bit of chip, on your shoulder, or are you kind of over that and you're kind of, or does it drive you in general being an undrafted guy instead of a guy like being drafted in round 1? Is that something that kind of fuels your fire a little bit mentally, subconsciously at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to play with the chip on my shoulder. I feel like that's something that I've always had. I feel like I've always been somewhat overlooked. I've always known what I can do on the field, but um, yeah, man, I feel like that chip always reminds me, how far I've came from, and to not, ever be complacent. Can't be in this league as soon as you feel like you made it, or you feel like you're that guy, or just whatever. That's when things might start to slip up. So you always got to keep that mindset. Always got to keep the chip, and that's just something that I always got to keep, especially being undrafted. Reminding teams that you skipped on me and you passed me,
Yeah.
but I'm where I'm supposed to be. Super excited to be here. Super excited for this year, and yeah, the chip is always going to be there.
Yeah, I think you're very special. I'll leave it with this. Again, I'm not just kissing butt here, I think, because you're on the show. I genuinely feel that there's something there. I remember years ago when Antonio Brown was crushing it, and I was doing fantasy. I'm really good at scouting talent. And I said, Tyreek is better than AB. And they're like, you're crazy, Tyreek, this time. And then Tyreek started, I think he was on the Chiefs, and he started emerging and stepping up. And now Tyreek's kind of like that household name, right? He's known as a speedster. I see that with you. I see that breakout potential, that really household name talk. A casual fan may or may not have heard of you, right? Like, I don't know, maybe a Jaguars fan may have not heard of you or something like that, but you got these mainstream guys. Everyone knows Mahomes, right? I think you're going to get there where you really get on the map and you're just, everybody kind of knows you. You've got that potential, right? Like, you know, there's a lot of players that even like defensive players, like, I haven't heard of that guy's name or something like that, but I think you're getting there. And I think this is the year where you go from a great player to an outstanding player and everybody kind of knows your name. And I think volume's going to contribute to that. Big plays are going to contribute to that. And obviously your talent will shine. I mean, we've already seen flashes of it, but everybody wants to see more and more of it, right? So again, that's my thoughts on it, but I just wanted to share that with everybody on my thoughts. I think there's something special here. That's my opinion.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Rashid. I appreciate you coming on, man. And yeah, he's a sleeper, but look out. This is the year, man. Thank you for coming on, guys. I appreciate it. We're out.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, there you have it, guys. Rashid Shaeed, super nice guy. And by the talks, after talking to him, it looks like he's going to get more volume. He's going to get more work, and he's a value this year, right? He's a big-time sleeper, big-time value. Should get a ton of work. Now, I think they just recently signed Puka's brother. I haven't done too much research on him. There could be something there, but Rashid Shaeed is in line right now to be the two on this roster, okay? This is going to be huge opportunity. Now, again, he's kind of labeled as a speedster. He definitely gets a volume uptick this year. Olave kind of dealing with some injuries already, some nagging stuff here and there, nothing serious. But both these guys were kind of tied in touchdowns last year, 5 apiece. Again, we're going to see more volume going Rashid's way this year. And again, I think he's more than a speedster. He's going to be used more often. And there is some upside here with Rashid Shaeed. Now, I missed on him in a bunch of leagues. Very unfortunate. You don't have to, though. I mean, if you see him there, why not go for him? You can see the confidence talking to him. He's ready to go. And that's what I like. I like that mentality. I like him also being a humble guy, down to earth. And that's what I love, okay? So, guys, Monday's here. Football is back. Immerse yourself, guys. Grab the 16-round draft solution. Secure the solution. Join the Fantasy Front Lines, guys, where it's an in-season community where we talk waiver wire. I give you the optimal DFS plays every week. Q&A. I'll do some lives as well. I'll jump in some lives as well, but mainly the questions. You get direct access to me, right? I'm also doing live coaching as well. Guys, book me below. They're filling up fast. And of course, very important, guys, grab a ticket to the virtual summit August 21st. Rashid Shaeed's going to actually be there. You get to ask him questions along with Kyrie Williams, Trey Benson, Pat Fryermuth, and more, okay? So, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this. Fantasy football is back. Guys, I'm super excited to deliver daily content every morning at 7 a.m. I'm doing lives in the evening as well. I appreciate you guys. I'm ready to rock, guys. Fantasy football is here. Smash it, tap it, hit the thumbs up. Drop a comment if you'd like. I'll try to get to as many as possible. And more importantly, go into 16 rounds. Grab it right now. Secure the solution. Secure the championship. Have yourself an outstanding day. Hope you guys enjoyed this interview. I'm delivering on a high level for you guys this year, as I always have. We'll talk soon, guys. Enjoy your day.